Now imagine you have written some code, okay, and you have to test it before the final code is ready, right? Now, whenever you are writing a piece of code, and then you want to test any piece of code, right? So there are three ways in which you can test the code that you have written. Okay, one is document.write. Okay, one is document.write. So what this thing is, what this will do, it will display whatever you write inside it. Okay, now you can write this is my code. So when I save over here, what I see, I will see this is my code over here. That means I am displaying these. So I write the code over here. I write the code over here, and for testing the code whether I have written correctly or not, the result I will take and I will display over here. Here I have simply written a string, but you can write any code that you want to display over here. Not the code, but you keep that result inside a variable and display the variable over here. The other piece, other helper text, we call it helper method. So other helper method is the alert function, like I said earlier. So here in alert also is responsible for displaying displaying the result of a code while for testing the code that you have written. Okay, now if I want to display something, then I can write here this is an alert. Okay, now there is one more method in which you can test the code that you are writing currently. So what you will do is that you can use a console.log. Okay, so in that console log you can have that variable like string in any of these, in document.write, alert, or you can or the console log, you can have the variable like. So let me add a variable. Let str equals to some value. Okay, this is a value. Okay, and the same str I can display at any place. Okay, I can display over here. So the str will contain the final result. Okay, the str contains the final result of the code that you have written, and you are just checking the result from your end. Okay, when I save over here, you will see in the alert I'll get the value, in the document.write I'll get the value, and for the console log you have to go to our developer tools. Remember developer tools while in the CSS course, right? Similarly, in the CSS course we studied only about the element portion, where I said about the elements as well as the style part, but here we will learn about the console. In the console you can see this is a value. Okay, so which means that these are the three helper methods that is provided by the browser. Every browser has this, that will help you to test the code when you are writing a piece of code. Okay, and while for testing the code you have to display somewhere, right, whether you have written the code properly or not. So you have to keep the result that you want to see in a particular variable, here in that case here in our case str, and then you can write within the document.write str or alert of str or console log.str. In the console log, in the console here means the in the browser's developer tools, you will have the console tab. Here you will be displaying. Okay, so when looking at the value, you can say that whether the value is correct or not. If it is wrong, then you change the logic of the JavaScript code that you've written. If it is correct, then you can. So now you are ready for the you are ready with the result, and you can attach this result to any HTML tags inner.html, and you can show it, right? So these are the three helper methods. Remember document.write, alert, and console log. But out of three, which method or which helper method you should use? I'll explain to you by giving an example. So remember, imagine that you don't have a string over here. Okay, now you have a object over here. So what is an object? Object is represented by an opening and closing curly braces, and you will have a property and value over here. So like our name, if it is JavaScript is my name. So this is my name I'm having. Now I'll be displaying, for displaying the object I just need to use the str, the same thing. So when I save over here, you see I see object in the alert. So in the alert I see object, and in the document.write also I see object, but in the console log you see name and JavaScript, which means that whenever object comes into picture, console log is the preferable helper method that anyone should use. So always use console log for for checking your code while you are testing some functionality. Okay, now if I'll give you a brief about what what can you do in the console is like, you can display any you can write any expression, like, so I'll write 1 plus 2, then I just click and enter it, give a 3. Okay, I can create a variable over here. Let me create a variable over let me create a let name equals to Sanat I'm having. Let me display over here. So when I click over here, I'll get undefined, but I will get, when I write the name, I'll get the name. Okay, and what you can do, you can type any function over here. So see, I'll type a function. I will get age is my function. Okay, and I will have alert box, sorry, curly braces, and I will be having an alert where I'll say that this is a get my age. Okay, so I'll get my age if I write. Okay, now when I just, what I need to do, I will just need to get age. I have to call this method for it to work. Now when I click on the get age, so when I click, this get executed and I can see my value, that is get my age. Okay, so in console, anything, any expression you want to test in the in your application, then you can use the console over here and you can test it. So everything, if you are getting the desired result, you can add that piece of code that you have tested over here to your in your local setup. In here you can add. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is that you write the code over here, you test your, you give some input, get the result. If you get the desired result, you just copy the code from here and you can paste over here. That means we are just trying to test the piece of code whether it will work or not in a particular situation. Okay, that testing you can do over here. Okay, that execution of the expression happens over here. So that was about whether we'll use document.write or an alert or a console log. So always prefer the console log over these two, because whenever object comes into picture, console log behaves perfectly and document.write and alert doesn't behaves perfectly. Okay, so that was about this video. So let's move to the next video.